It just seems like... Hello, my friends, and welcome to yet another Nintendo News Roundup. I am trying so hard to keep these on a schedule. I want a Sunday schedule, or maybe Saturday, I'm not sure, just some sort of consistent schedule, and obviously I am struggling with that. But what are you gonna do? Let's read the news, shall we? First up, according to an article on VentureBeat, Nintendo not only has no plans to release a Nintendo Direct in June, but they also have no plans to release one anytime soon. According to this article, Nintendo has been telling development partners not to wait for a Direct, even if they have a big announcement to make. They go on to say that we should expect more random surprise trailer drops, as with Paper Mario Origami King. Now, when there started to be some doubt about Nintendo doing any sort of Direct in June, obviously my best case scenario was that they were planning a Direct, but they were just gonna delay it a little bit. But now it seems that if there was going to be a Direct, which I have no reason to believe that there wasn't, it has now been dissolved entirely. Obviously, the person writing this article, can we trust them? Do they actually know what they're talking about? Or are they really just kind of guessing with a lot of confidence? We don't really know. We never really know, unfortunately. But considering a surprise trailer for a new Paper Mario game pretty much could have carried a whole Nintendo Direct by itself, like just that by itself would have been hype enough to be like the big crazy reveal, and that was just kind of randomly dropped on YouTube. Yeah, I can see it. I can see more surprise drops like that. I can see no Direct for the near future. And yeah, it's disappointing, but I mean, obviously, that's just the circumstances we're in right now, so hey, as long as things are still moving in some way, as long as they haven't been shut down entirely, we're still getting games. Can't really complain too much, can we? Next up, in a Q&A session, President Furukawa stated that while Nintendo was developing more mobile games, they were not going to be developing as many new titles as they have been. He says, considering how we will position our mobile business in the future, we are not necessarily looking to continue releasing many new applications for the mobile market, as much as we are looking at the continuation of our mobile business as a way to make active use of Nintendo IP in the interest of maximizing the entirety of Nintendo's business. Yeah, there's more than a little vague corporate talk in there, but that beginning part makes a lot of sense. We are not necessarily looking to continue releasing many new applications. And it makes sense, they've already hit a lot of their major giant IPs. You got your Mario, you got your Mario Kart, you got your Animal Crossing, and technically you got Pokemon Go. So they've already hit a lot of their major franchises, and enough of their games have been sales disappointments that I'm not too surprised they're not really keen to just start throwing stuff out willy-nilly and trying to see what sticks. Who knows? Maybe this whole thing actually means nothing. Maybe the whole thing is very vague. Maybe they got plenty of stuff coming. I myself have not been taking much interest in their mobile endeavors. I feel that my own feelings on them have been pretty hit or miss as well, but Roberta's off, she's off grazing in the field, so I don't have time to get up on my high horse and start talking about mobile games today. So instead, I'll just move on. Nintendo has been making a habit of very irregularly bringing new games to Nintendo Switch Online. New releases have been fairly meager and way too far between for my liking, but they just brought 4 new games to the service, 1 NES game, Rygar, and 3 Super NES games, Operation Logic Bomb, Panel de Pon, and Wild Guns. Personally, I was disappointed once again by the selection. However, turning to Twitter, I found that apparently Panel de Pon is a really, really huge deal with a lot of the people that I follow on Twitter. So I was gonna write this off as a very simple news item, but apparently it's a massive deal. So, breaking news, Panel de Pon on the Switch, and I'm very, very happy for all you guys. Moving on, 6 years ago, way back in 2014, deep in the Wii U days, when Nintendo was still going hard after the casual market, they started talking about their quality of life initiative. They started giving us all these vague ideas about either a product or a series of products that sort of tied into our everyday lives. I think the subject of sleep came up a lot. I keep assuming that the project is completely dead after all these years, especially after that casual market very much moved on. But every once in a while, Nintendo swings back around again and says, no, we're still doing it. We're still doing quality of life. So this time they've even filed another patent after all these years, and it once again has to do with sleep. A Doppler sensor is included in the base device, which detects biological information such as respiration and pulse, in addition to the user's body movement. The base device also includes a projector that projects an image on a wall surface, including a ceiling or a screen. Such images could be to prompt the user to fall asleep or wake up, or to display an image that shows the sleep evaluation result when the user wakes up in the morning. Further, the base device also includes a camera, speaker, and control unit. The control unit has a CPU and a memory, and can also transmit the information detected by the Doppler sensor to the mobile terminal. There was once a time when an idea like this would have been very novel coming from Nintendo, but as the years have gone on, now we've seen all of these kinds of quality of life products, mobile applications. People have got all sorts of sensors and stuff they use now. So it feels a little late to the party, and it feels a little weird that they are still doing this. It's possible they're just updating the patent. Maybe they're not actually planning on doing this. Maybe this does not represent a product they are actually making. Maybe they just kind of want to, I don't know, just in case, or kind of update a patent that they had already done. We don't really know. Maybe the surprise success of Ring Fit Adventure has made them go, oh, wait, look, our weird casual things, they can work, they can, and that's renewed their interest in this whole quality of life thing. Who really knows? However, if they do this and it can project an image onto the wall, and if they're gonna be using their IPs here, I want Ganondorf to tell me to fall asleep every night. I want just Ganondorf to show up on the wall and just be like, hey, it's time to go to sleep. And then if you're like, no, I'm not tired, he's like, Rah! And then when it finally senses you're going to sleep, it should be like, Anyway, moving on, French outlet 20 Minutes recently did an interview with Animal Crossing New Horizons director Aya Kyogoku, who says, with each development cycle, we always want to ensure that the most recent entry is the best game possible. It was the case with New Leaf and still is with New Horizons. I report on this for two reasons. The first one is that speaking about all of this in the present tense does make me wonder if there are a lot of other big changes still yet to come for Animal Crossing New Horizons. It is possible that we already have 95% of the content and now it's just going to be like holidays and little tiny one-off events. It's also possible that a year or two from now the game will look not dramatically different, but there could be a lot of new features and new things added to the game. That's kind of the genius of this kind of social, constantly updated game. We never know what kind of stuff they could bring. The second reason I'm reporting on this story is to inject a little bit of that Arlo snark. Someone go ring the snark bell. Snark's coming. Animal Crossing New Horizons is really terrific. I love it to pieces, but there's so much about it that could be improved. So many things that the entire community is just screaming for. Some of them very simple little things that could be patched out, as I've talked about, did a whole entire video on it. So to say we're trying to make this as good as possible is a little like, well, I mean, are you really? I mean, like, I know they're trying to make a good game. Maybe they have reasons for not changing some stuff, but still, just like, I don't know, man. I can think of ways it could be way, way better. Most people unanimously agree that there are some little things that would make it so much better. So, I don't know. Trying to make the best game possible. I'm certainly hoping that they are at least paying attention to the kind of stuff that we're saying and considering some of these changes that we are proposing. In other news, a charity called Calm recently hosted a Mario Kart 8 Deluxe tournament featuring a bunch of celebrities, all raising money for charity. And this is only funny coming so soon after that Mario Tennis Aces tournament, which also had a bunch of celebrities. And I don't have too much to say, except apparently this was a great idea. Apparently just like, hey, we're still stuck inside. What other Mario game can we all get together and play to raise money for charity? Why not? Also, are these really celebrities? I don't recognize even a single. Am I just that old? I don't know. Daisy, Edgar Jones, Anthony Watson, Tyrone. Yeah, I have no idea. Knock, knock. Who's there? It's Reggie Fils-Aimé with a new podcast. Reggie, he's on the board of directors for the New York Video Game Critics Circle. According to their website, they are a non-profit organization that sees great benefit in advocating for those less fortunate in our community, everyone from students in the Bronx and Lower East Side to older adults who want to learn about and benefit from games and technology. Seems they do a lot of mentoring, they do a lot of workshops with students and stuff like that. It seems pretty cool. It's certainly in line with the stuff that we've seen Reggie doing recently, and as I said, he started started a new podcast called Talking Games with Reggie and Harold, and I have not listened to it yet, but it seems they're not just talking about, video games, talking about their favorite games or whatever, more about what they are doing in the realm of video games. This is actually a fundraising podcast, so if you find any of this stuff interesting, then go give it a listen. It's Reggie's podcast. Go listen to Reggie's podcast. In other news, Nintendo's battle against hackers is one that will probably rage until the very end of time. Recently, Nintendo of America filed 2 lawsuits against Switch hackers. They filed one against a Tom Diltz Jr. who operates the website UberChips, and the second lawsuit targeted a number of anonymous defendants from multiple websites. Before anyone grabs their pitchforks, though, no, this is not Nintendo suing someone for hacking their own Switches. We're talking about people who make hardware and software that they then distribute, which allows people to hack their own Switches and pirate content. This is, of course, super mega illegal, and honestly, I do not understand how people are still doing this. I know there's a big draw. I know people like to hack stuff. I know people like to steal games and not pay for them, but at the same time, people who are running websites and actually selling this kind of stuff, I do not understand how they think they're going to get away with it. I don't really know. Like I said, I don't know a lot about the hacking community, but every time I see a story like this, I go, yeah, that's, yep, that'll happen. That'll happen, won't it? In similar news, U.S. Customs and Border Protection recently seized 15 boxes of counterfeit Pokemon figurines, which were heading from Hong Kong to Schuyler County, Pennsylvania. These counterfeits were seized for violating U.S. intellectual property rights. Now, this story is very funny to me. I want to see how it went down. I want to see a timeline. Like, there has to have been something else going on here. There had to be like a tip or something, because how did they know? Someone's just like, what do you got there? Oh, just some boxes of Pokemon figures. Who's gonna be like, I'm checking, these are counterfeit? Who? I don't know, how did they even know to check that kind of thing? I like to imagine one of the border guys was just a massive Pokemon fan. And so he's going through the boxes, oh, Pokemon figurines, all right, everything seems to be in order. Wait a second, that's not what color Flareon is. These are counterfeit. Put your hands in the air. Yeah, I imagine that's probably how it went down. Have you seen these? Have you seen these counterfeit Pokemon figures? I remember Loxton, I think he even did some videos on this. They're pretty funny. I wouldn't want to spend my money on them, but some of them are just really just the wrong colors and wrong shapes and just kind of deformed and funny looking. I don't know, it's pretty entertaining looking at this stuff. So we very recently got the news of the Hobonichi Mother project, which promised some Mother/Earthbound news coming in before the end of the year. We obviously didn't know what that would include or when. Are we talking December 28th here? Apparently we didn't have to wait too long because they just revealed the Pollyanna tribute comic. The illustrations in this comic were done by 35 different manga artists and writers, and one of these people just happens to be Toby Fox, who made Undertale. As you probably know, I'm not a big Mother fan, but this art does seem very, very cool. It seems like a very neat project, and again, I am very, very happy for all of you Mother fans out there who are finally getting some cool stuff, and it is still promising more. So we don't even know how many different announcements there are going to be before the end of the year, how many of these funny little projects, so stay tuned, Mother fans. So sometime back, Nintendo decided to close all of their repair centers in North America, which was very unfortunate for people like me who actually just put in an order and literally printed out the thing to put on the box to send in the Joy-Con that was drifting and just didn't get around to it. And then they closed and, now I'm just stuck with a bad Joy-Con in a box, but apparently they are starting to very slowly open them back up again. These reopenings are subject to local guidelines, so you're gonna see different places reopening, different places not reopening. This is a slow process. They say obviously they're going to prioritize the orders that had already come in. Naturally, the people already waiting to get their Joy-Cons back before they start taking a lot of new orders. But it's a very good sign. Hopefully things will just continue to recover like this, and hopefully soon I will be able to send in and get a replacement for my Joy-Con. Just drifting all over the place. It's the drift, man. It's like the 5th one. And in other Joy-Con related news, one Zachary Vergara has been trying to sue Nintendo for violations of consumer protection laws, breach of warranty, and unjust enrichment. Unfortunately, a judge told Vergara that his claim must be arbitrated. I know next to nothing about law. Like at all. But from what I can glean, from my understanding, this is not a judge throwing out the case entirely. This is a judge saying you need a third party, an arbitrator, to decide if this is even something that should be settled in court. I don't know what that process looks like. I don't know if this is a significant setback or if this actually does kind of end the case. I'm not really sure, but as always, I will say anything Nintendo has got coming to them because of this whole Joy-Con issue, they completely deserve. This is still an ongoing issue. It's nice that they started repairing people's Joy-Cons for free sometimes. Very, very nice, but like, this is a known issue, a very big one that they're just not solving. They are continuing to produce more and more Joy-Cons all the time with this problem. People are suffering for it. Their game experiences are being impacted because of it. They are losing money because of it. It's an extremely bad look for Nintendo, and if it takes somebody suing them, actually just suing them to make them change, then yeah, that's what happens. That's what happens when you have a faulty product that you continue to willingly sell, even though there's a really, really bad problem with it. So, I don't know. We will see how it goes, I guess. Finally, yet another mysterious 4chan leaker has leaked the source codes for all of the Gen 3 Pokemon games. What's happening? What is this? Where's people getting this stuff? This is my professional news reporting right here. Is me just going like, what happened? What's going on? This person previously leaked the source code for the Gen 2 Pokemon games, and now they're back with 3. Will they be back with 4? Are they gonna go all the way up to Sword and Shield or something? I have no idea. Where are people getting these source codes? Where are they getting this information? I have no idea, but it's starting to feel like a daily occurrence. These just, oh, this game, this hardware, that thing, just source codes leaking all over the place. Nintendo's got a big giant bucket of source codes, and there's a big fat hole in it or something, because they're just spewing out all over the place for anyone to see. Plug up your source code bucket, Nintendo. Gotta get some cork or something. Some tape at least. Anyway, that's it for this edition of the Nintendo News Roundup. I sincerely hope that you have yourself a wonderful, joyous, and altogether pleasant and positive day. Goodbye.